my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in today's video I'm going to show you how you can build a skincare routine. Now, I have prepared for you an overall general guide with the specific steps, what products you can include, skin types, skin concerns, and even examples, plus a morning and evening skincare routine for a different skin type and concerns, all in my PowerPoint slides, so that you can see it visually, have an overall structure in this confusing world, because it can be quite overwhelming if you do not know what to look for. And so I want to break it all down step by step. However, if for some reason I went too fast over a specific topic, or you want to go over those slides in your own time again, you will find everything in the description box down below. You can even download them if you find them helpful and keep that information for yourself. Now, let's get started with the first major important point that I want to make. And this is that every skincare routine needs to be adjusted on your skin type, skin concerns, and your budget. With the examples that I have picked, depending on the different products, I try to keep it budget friendly so that you have some examples in mind what you can look for, or something similar to this. However, of course, you need to adjust it. So based on the products that I like to use for my specific skin concerns, it may not work for you, and therefore it can be very individual. Overall, a skincare routine can be just as simple as 2 steps. If you do not really have any specific concerns, but you want to have a clean face with your cleansing that you're going to use morning and evening, and then sunscreen during daytime to protect the skin from the damaging UV rays. This is how simple you can keep it. However, it can be a skincare routine that can contain up to 7 steps. Do you need to use all those steps? Probably not. You can simplify it, you can minimize it by specifically focusing it on your needs. And so I want to quickly go over a layering guide based on what products you can first of all include, and see immediately the order of application, what this would be, and then we're going to break it down part by part so that it's not as overwhelming. So right here you can see the table. So right here you see the intro that I just gave you, what to look into when building a skincare routine, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. So the first step is going to be your cleanser. This is essential. Please do not skip it. Morning and evening, to remove any impurities, excess oil from the skin. Now you can see that I have the 1 in front of it, then it says the specific step, which then would be the cleanser, and then you have a brief explanation next to it. The next one would be an hydrating and soothing toner, and again you have the explanation to it, to add hydration to the skin, to rebalance the pH, to reduce sensitivity, and so there you can find some different alternatives. Then you have exfoliating acid toner, serums, or liquids. They can be called in different names, but they basically help to remove the dead skin cells from the skin surface. And there are several ones in different categories, which we're going to look into in just a moment. Then as the 4th step, you have essence, serum, and treatments. Now this is what I categorized in one big step, because they primarily work in the same way as they help you to target a specific skin concerns. Just again, they may change in names. Then next up you have facial plant oils. After this, moisturizer creams. Now facial plant oils and moisturizer and creams is what I recommend doing in the evening. And then during daytime, as your last step, you have your sunscreen to protect the skin from the damaging UV rays. So again, the cleansing step and sunscreen are the most important steps. All the other steps in between depends on your overall needs. Now let's break it down and start off with the cleansing step. Choosing the right products for your skin type and needs, choosing a cleanser. Now you have cleansers that do mention that they are sometimes great for all skin types, so this usually refers to if you have a normal skin type, you may not have specific concerns, you do not really have sensitive skin, then you can look into such a cleanser. However, if you have a dry skin, so your skin, for example, does not produce enough oil, you are easily dehydrated again because your skin cannot hold on to water, looking into a cleanser that's specifically designed for dry skin can help you to hydrate the skin, soothe the skin, yet is gentle enough to properly remove any impurities from the skin surface. And underneath, again, you can see some examples such as Cetaphil or CeraVe. The same would apply if you have an oilier skin type, so you have excess oil on the skin surface. So you want to look into a cleanser that's a bit I don't like to say the word harsh, but it's a bit stronger in removing the excess oil from the skin, and even may help you to unclog the pores so that you will have a clearer appearance. And so therefore you need to look into specific cleansers that are great for combination to oily skin. This is how they are usually being labeled. And often those are gel or foaming type cleansers, whereas the dry skin cleansers can be like very gentle cream-like textures, or very gentle or very like hydrating gels. So there may also be a difference in how the texture may be, and some foam, whereas others do not really create a foam, which is also an important point to emphasize. And again, under the oily skin cleansers, you have some examples. Again, Cetaphil and CeraVe, those are very budget friendly, and that's what I can recommend. Then the next step after your cleansing, you can choose a hydrating and soothing toner. Do you need it? Is it important? Is it essential? Not really. This depends on what the rest of your skincare routine may look like. This depends on your overall skin needs. Because as already mentioned, the cleansing step can be enough. Now, what can a hydrating toner offer you? Well, first of all, it can help you to rehydrate your skin again. So if your cleanser was a bit stripping, it did not dry out your skin, but it feels maybe a bit dry, and you prefer to add something lightweight that's very hydrating on the skin, looking into a hydrating toner can already do the job for you. It can be soothing, it can be calming, reduce redness, and overall sensitivity. Just make sure that you're not confusing your hydrating and soothing toner with exfoliating acid toners, because they are different based on what they do to the skin. So if you're looking into a hydrating toner, look something that's very refreshing on the skin and that helps to rebuild and strengthen and hydrates your skin in a very light way. Now, I did not mention an example right here because there's so many different toners on the market. However, one great example, which you later will see also in my example routines, would be From Rice Toner, which I would consider is great for all skin types. It is rich in antioxidants and helps hydrate the skin. Now, when looking into choosing the right exfoliating acid toners, liquids or serums, do you need them? Not necessarily. If your skin in general does not need exfoliation, your natural skin shedding, like your skin naturally loosens the dead skin cells from the skin surface, if this is still intact, you do not really have textured skin, clogged pores, sun damaged skin in general, then you probably do not need to look into an exfoliating acid toner. So for whom is it important? Who needs to look into such a toner? Well, I have put them into categories because there are several exfoliating acid products that you can get. First of all, let's look into AHA, which stands for alpha hydroxy acids. Under that category, you would refer to glycolic acid, lactic acid, and mandelic acid. There are other ones as well, but those are the most common ones. You can find them individually or already mixed together. Now, what can AHAs do for you? Well, they are primarily recommended if you have dry skin, since they help to hydrate the skin, they help to thicken the skin. They're great for sun-damaged skin. Overall, if you have surface hyperpigmentation, and they have anti-aging properties. Now, they help to loosen the dead skin cells on the skin surface, therefore they can help you to improve those specific concerns that I just emphasized. But AHAs aren't as suitable if you have sensitive skin that's easily leading to stinging or burning. Specifically focusing on glycolic acid. That one has the smallest molecules, can easily penetrate into the skin, therefore can cause more stinging and burning. Lactic acid is a guy that's kind of in between. It can be gentle for some people, even though you may have slightly sensitive skin. However, for others, this still can sting on the skin. And then lastly, you have mandelic acid. That one has the largest molecules. It needs more time to penetrate into the skin, therefore it can be much gentler. So if you have somewhat sensitive skin, you can still look into an AHA, but I recommend looking into mandelic acid and skip the other ones. If you do not have sensitive skin at all, well, then you can choose any of them. Then the next one would be BHA, which refers to salicylic acid. It's primarily being used if you have an oilier skin type, if you have sensitive skin, since it does not burn or sting on the skin as AHAs can do. And it's great if you are prone to breakouts and blackheads, or even may work on rosacea prone skin, because it helps to deeply unclog the pores. It can break through the excess oil that you may have on the skin. It helps to regulate the oil, has anti-inflammatory properties, and therefore may reduce redness as well. And it's great if you have blackheads, and even breakout. So it can help you to create more like clearer skin, let's call it like this, so while we're loosening the dead skin cells on the skin surface. Then after that, you have your PHA. Now that one isn't as common based on what you can find in individual products. It may sometimes be mixed in other exfoliating acids, but if you come across a PHA toner or serum or liquid, then this is great if you have, first of all, sensitive skin. You are leaning more towards a drier skin type, since it has moisturizing properties, it does not sting or burn on the skin, and still has great anti-aging and antioxidant properties. Plus it helps to strengthen the skin surface while gently loosening the dead skin cells on the skin surface, so it isn't as harsh. And so there you really have the breakdown. So depending on now your skin concerns, if you have like skin concerns that do not really apply on those specific exfoliating acids, well then you can skip it. If you say, well, I have those specific concerns, well then you can add it. Then the next one would be choosing serums for your specific skin concerns. Now this would be essence, serums and treatments. I put them all in one category because they usually have a higher percentage in a specific ingredient, and therefore I just want to summarize it in the same like point of like what you would add to your routine. Now I went with the main concerns that I often see in my comments that are referring to it. However, there are other ones that are like not really missing, but I did not really emphasize them because you could balance it with something else. So you have, for example, for acne and blackheads, you can look into products that containing, for example, salicylic acid, as already mentioned earlier with the exfoliant, a BHA. You can get it in serums as well, therefore put it still into the serum category. Then you have benzoyl peroxides, which are usually treatments that you can get in a cream or gel type like formula, and you have your retinoids. So those could be great options to look into if you have those specific concerns. Hyperpigmentation, mainly focusing on exfoliating acids as well as like brightening ingredients such as vitamin C and niacinamide. There are other ones to mention like tranexamic acid, you have alpha-butene. So the range goes on, but look into a brightening product or an exfoliant. Now this can be and or an exfoliant. Then lastly, you have fine lines and wrinkles. So you want to look into something that can give you anti-aging benefits. Again, this can be exfoliating acids, as we discussed earlier with AHAs. This can also be peptides or even retinoids, retinols. Now, one category that I did not emphasize right here would be hydrating essence serums. And the main concern, like not the main concern, but the main point why I did not emphasize them right here is because it would refer to the hydrating and soothing toner. So if you now say, well, I have already an hydrating essence or hydrating serum that I want to include, you do not necessarily need to look into an hydrating toner. You can, but you don't have to. Or the other way around. If you have already an hydrating and soothing toner, you do not necessarily need to look into an hydrating serum or essence. And so there you can really simplify and balance your skincare routine. It does not need to include those 7 steps. The simpler, the shorter you can keep it, and the more focused on your concerns, the better. Then the next one would be choosing the right oils and moisturizers. Now we are going over the different skin types, and there's more to it than just that. So I put this into one step, even though just earlier you just saw that the oil would be the 5th step, then a moisturizer the 6th step, and then the sunscreen the 7th step. Well, this is based on the order of application. So if you want to just go with an oil or just use your moisturizer, that's completely fine. If you want to use both of them, your oil and moisturizer, you have 2 options. Either mix them in the palm of your hand, then do the application, or layer them. Use one after the other, and then you would refer to the first PowerPoint slide that I shared with you. Now, I want to specifically focus now one moment to dry skin. Now, dry skin does not produce enough oil, therefore it cannot hold on to water, therefore you're more prone to water loss, which then makes the skin drier and dehydrated. And so based on that, you can adjust it with an oil and or moisturizer. If you're doing this combination, I recommend doing this in the evening, because during daytime you mainly want to keep your focus on sunscreen, whereas in the evening you're going to focus on oil and or moisturizer. So if you want to work with both and you want to layer them, I recommend using your facial plant oil as your first step and then use your moisturizer that's suitable for your dry skin afterwards. The main reason for this is because facial plant oils have a smaller molecular structure. They are still occlusives. They still can work brilliantly if you have a drier skin type, and therefore you can use them on its own as well. However, for whatever reason, this may not be enough, or it feels not comfortable on the skin, because that's also a desire to consider what feels comfortable on the skin. You can work with both and then layer your moisturizer afterwards. That's good for dry skin. Now, when looking into moisturizers that are suitable for dry skin, most often they include mineral oils and silicones, which have a larger molecular structure than your facial oils, and therefore you would layer it afterwards. If you're doing this the other way around, the oil cannot really penetrate through it, and then it may feel weird on the skin surface. Now, to avoid this confusion, one simple thing that you can do is just mix it in the palm of your hand. There you get the benefits of both, and then you are going to save a step because you're going to apply both in one go over your face and neck. When looking into moisturizers for oily skin, now if you have oily skin, you probably do not really want to work with an oil. I'm not saying that this is not going to work. I'm just saying based on the feeling and because your skin produces already enough oil, you may not need anything at all. And you're going to finish with your specific treatments if you're going to include them in your evening skincare routine, and there you have it. There is no additional oil and or moisturizer needed. However, if you want to work with one, I recommend working with moisturizers that are helping to strengthen and repair your skin barrier, such as the ordinary natural moisturizing factors or Nio's hydration vaccine. Look into amino acid type serums, maybe products, gels, creams, and something that feels lightweight on the skin, that does not make your skin greasy, like more greasy. Because if you have already oily skin, you do not need a moisturizer that seals everything, because you're just going to seal the oil that your skin produces, and then by the end of the day you are looking more shiny than before without a moisturizer. So therefore you can look into such types of moisturizers, or maybe, I haven't listed it, but because this would also maybe be more so a treatment, look into a moisturizer that gives you a mattifying finish, or that is able to absorb the excess oil so that you're going to do not look as shiny throughout the day or even in the evening. And then there you have it for oily skin. Now, the last step would be the last step in your morning skincare routine, and then this would be choosing the right sunscreen. Now, again, I have some examples for dry skin as well as for oily skin. Those are purely examples. There are loads of products on the market. If you have something else that's working well for your skin needs, go ahead, of course, and choose that specific product. Now, you often have with dry skin, you may feel the need of using a moisturizer before your sunscreen. Well, this may not be needed if you are looking into the right sunscreen. So you can save a step. And this can either be, as they so-called, a moisturizer with SPF, or a regular sunscreen that does even include the same ingredients, benefits that a moisturizer with SPF does, but it's not called a moisturizer with SPF. And so there you have some examples with Paula's Choice for storing moisturizer with SPF. There you have the term in it. Or for example, Isn't Tree Hyaluronic Acid Water Sun Gel. That one is quite rich. It feels comfortable on the skin and may already be enough for dry skin. So therefore you can find richer sunscreens, regular sunscreens. You can find very lightweight sunscreens. You can find mattifying sunscreens. You can find gel type or cream type sunscreens. So there are several ones on the market where you do not necessarily need to use a moisturizer beforehand. And then when looking into sunscreens for oilier skin types, well, there you have some examples such as very lightweight sunscreens, fluids or light cream-like textures, or even maybe gels, and even some sunscreens that can give you a mattifying effect. And so there you really need to choose the right sunscreen. It needs to feel comfortable on the skin, plus it shouldn't irritate or sting on the skin, nor around your eyes. Now, I'm not saying that you should use your sunscreen around the eyes. Some can, whereas others do not recommend it. But if your eyes are going to tear up, by just applying it just right underneath, well then of course go ahead and go with something else, or you need to avoid this part even further, but then you need to wear sunglasses when being exposed to the sun. So you really need to make sure that every product that you're going to apply to the skin, that it feels good on the skin. It should target your concern, but at the same time it should feel good on the skin, because otherwise you're not going to do yourself a favor if it irritates your skin in any way, because then you're going to create more problems than you had before. So now that you know the main information on how you can build a skincare routine based on what you're going to choose and include in your routine, let's put this into practice. And I have prepared for you a morning and evening skincare routine, one for dry, dull looking skin, the other one for oily, blemish prone skin, so that you can see how you can adjust it and how important it is to really look out for your specific concerns. Now, keep in mind the main focus is still the layering, in what order you would apply the products. So let's get started with a morning skincare routine for dry, dull looking skin, which you can see right here. So on the top you have a sun, you can see in the middle morning AM routine, dry, dull looking skin. Those are the specific skin type and skin concerns. Underneath you see the steps, and then you can see the products that I have picked, and there you also will see underneath the boxes a general guide of how much you need to use of each individual product, so that you're making sure that you use enough but that you're not going to overuse it when doing the application. So starting off with a cleansing step, choose a cleanser that's suitable for dry skin. You can see my two examples right here. Rinse it off, pat the skin dry. Next up would be an hydrating and soothing toner. You can apply it with your hands or with a cotton pad. Swipe it evenly all over, and then once you're done with the application, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Give the product always in between enough time so it can absorb into the skin. This is more or less about 30 seconds to a minute. Once that has happened, you're moving on to the next step, which can be your essence and or serum or specific treatment. Please do not overload this specific step. Keep it as simple as possible, still focusing on your needs. Since we are targeting dry, dull looking skin, I went with an hydrating essence as well as 2 types of vitamin C serums. One includes pure ascorbic acid, which is a pure form of vitamin C, which is less suitable if you have sensitive skin because it can sting or burn on the skin. And another alternative would be a vitamin C derivative, which is then the ordinary ascorbic glucoside solution. So working with the vitamin C derivatives is in general more suitable if you have in general sensitive skin. So apply the product to the skin, and then once you're done with the application, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Depending on the essence, serums or treatment that you may have picked for your specific needs, you can wait about 30 seconds to a minute in between, but sometimes if you're working with a treatment that has a cream-like texture, you may want to wait 1 to 2 minutes in between before applying your sunscreen as your last step in your morning skincare routine, to make sure that everything is able to nicely absorb into the skin, to kind of set as well before you're going to apply the sunscreen on top. And then again, this can be a regular sunscreen or moisturizer that already contains SPF. You can see my examples right here. What's important to note with the morning skincare routine, when using sunscreen, please make sure to apply it 10 to 15 minutes before sun exposure, and use enough, about half to a full teaspoon for your face, neck and décolletage to evenly protect the skin. You will, by the way, find a sunscreen guide in my PowerPoint slides as well. This would be an example morning skincare routine for a drier, dull looking skin. So what would a morning routine look like if you have an oily or blemish prone skin type? Well, first of all, you're going to change the cleanser. Again, suitable for combination to oily skin. Wash your face, rinse it off, pat the skin dry. When working with an hydrating and soothing toner, work with one that's either suitable for all skin types, as already mentioned earlier in my examples. Here you have the I'm from Rice toner, or for example Paula's Choice Pore Reducing Toner, which contains niacinamide, which helps to regulate the oiliness. Therefore it would be more suitable if you have an oilier skin type. So again, apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin, wait the 30 seconds to a minute in between, and then move on to the next step. Now again, this can be essence, specific serum or treatment. I went with an essence that's great for all skin types, but I mentioned it now right here for oily skin as well. You have the ordinary niacinamide serum, you have Paula's Choice Azelaic Acid Booster. Those are all great points and steps and products that I can recommend if you have an oilier skin type and even have blemish prone skin. So apply a specific product to the skin, leave it on the skin, there's no need to wash it off. And then you're moving on to sun protection. Keep in mind something lightweight that does not make your skin further greasy and even may also have a mattifying effect if that's something that you're looking into. Otherwise, just look for something lightweight but still hydrating with the 2 examples that are provided. And again, you will find a general guide below. So what would an evening skincare routine look like for dry, dull looking skin? Well, here I want to play around with exfoliating acids. Because we mentioned them earlier, and I now want to show you how you can include them and work with them. So first of all, you're starting off with your cleanser. Then you're moving on to your exfoliant. If you have dry, dull looking skin, again, remember I mentioned AHAs or PHA is the most suitable one, so go with one of them. If you feel the need of including it, then go ahead and do so. Apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin, there's no need to wash it off. Then again, you can continue with your specific treatments, apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin, and then as your last step, you can work with an oil and or moisturizer, as already mentioned earlier, and really broken down on how you would layer them and what you can do with it based on the application. And then there you have an example of an evening skincare routine. Now, when working with an evening skincare routine for oily, blemish-prone skin, you're going to again switch the cleanser. If you want to include an exfoliant, you're working with a BHA. So you have a few examples right here. You have a liquid, you have kind of like an essence toner type BHA, and even a serum. So there you have like a great demonstration that they are available in different types of like names and even bottles. And then again, you're going to apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin, work with your specific treatments, apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin. And then the last step is going to be your moisturizer if you feel the need. Remember, it is fine to not use a moisturizer at all if you have an oilier skin type. But still, if you want to work with one, work with amino acids, something lightweight, like natural moisturizing factors to strengthen and repair your skin barrier. And then this would be a great last step. And so there you have it when it comes to a morning and evening skincare routine, what you can specifically look out for and how it is like different to a dry, dull looking skincare routine. So please make sure to always choose the right products for your needs. And again, I want to remind you, if you want to go over the PowerPoint slides in your own time, you want to even download them, you will find the link in the description box down below. Click on it, it will open a page where I'm uploading them. You can go over it again online or even download them to your device, and there you have all that information, including even the sunscreen guide and the products that I have mentioned in those specific routines if you want to look into them yourself. And then there you have it on how you can build a skincare routine and then even break it all down what products you would choose for your specific needs. I do hope that you enjoyed this video, that you find it helpful, that I covered like the main information, that it now will make a lot more sense. And so if you did enjoy this video, you find it helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. And so there you have it. If you now want to learn more about skincare in general, you want to see the different applications with the products that I probably also mentioned in my example skincare routines, you will find the videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to link some of them at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye.